Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad that you have joined us again this week. I am Kimberly Clemens, your host of Chats and Chuckles. This is the day that the Lord has made, and of course, I am rejoicing and I am so glad in this day. As you know, I'm going to say again, I have a very special guest this week. And I am not going to prolong the hour, but I first want to say thank you to my sponsor, Operation Refuge. Thank you so much for sponsoring us again. We really love you, Pastor Overman. Now we're going to get to the special guest. Y'all, it's me. I am your special guest this week, and I have brought my very, very good friend, Darwin, out this week. Darwin, of course, is truth to power. He is here this week to talk to me. Ain't that right, Darwin?
Well, this just seems so interesting being on the other side of the table where I'm so used to being on your side of the table and looking at my guests. But now here I'll be asking you questions based on how people have been asking so many people, who is Kimberly A. Clemens?
Oh, my goodness.
Where did the name Chats and Chuckles come from? Is that her face right there? They see that big, the
big face?
and everything.
Is that what they
there.
say, Darwin?
They
The
see
big
those
face?
lips and that smile, and they like just, it's so infectious. Everybody, when they see it, they just got to smile and they want to talk about it. But it is a pleasure to be a guest here on Chats and Chuckles. I've seen so many people that I've come, and a lot of times, as you know, Kimberly, I'll come on Tuesdays just to watch you, just to learn
Yeah,
some
you
things
do.
from you.
You
And
do.
when I see your guests, when they leave off the set, all smiles, just nothing but chats and chuckles when they leave off, talking about, oh, I just had such a great time. I really enjoyed.
They did, Darwin, but I'm going to tell you, that's, they leave smiling because they got that picture with RJ.
Yeah, they do. They do. Because when people come into the studio, they come here and they open up the door and they look and they, R.J. Watkins. Is that the R.J. Watkins from the New Dance Show?
From the New Dance Show,
And then
yeah.
I had one guy saying, I stood in line for a long time trying to get on that show. They didn't let me in. But, he was talking about the R.J. Watkins. And everybody, when they see it, see his picture, they're excited.
Yeah.
Because they're hoping that he's going to be here. And then when he comes and when your guests leave out,
Yeah.
and they see him sitting at the desk, they like, oh, wow. And then just like I had on my show, I had Malia Howard, who was the deputy mayor under Mike Duggan. And she came and did my show. And when she walked in and she saw his picture, she was like, R.J. Watkins, is that the same R.J. Watkins? I said, yes, it is. And I said, come on back to the studio. So we're going past the boardroom, and next thing you know, she looked in the boardroom and she saw RJ sitting in the boardroom, and she started to bowing.
Oh, yeah.
And told her assistant,
He's a legend.
you got to pay homage to this man.
Yeah.
This man is the legend.
Yeah.
Right here. And the same thing when I was talking to Police Commissioner Darrell Woods, and Darrell Woods came and did the show, and Darrell was like, he is the legend. But see, RJ is very humble.
Definitely humble. I will say that it really is truly an honor to be able to have a spot here at WHPR. Not only just to have a spot, but to have an hour to be able just to do, what I do. But then to top it off, to get a picture. Mostly every guest that I've had gets a picture with RJ. That's like the highlight of the show.
But how do you think that makes RJ feel? That's the part that makes RJ
I hope
feel
it don't make
so-
him feel tired, because
No, it makes him feel like he's made so many contributions.
Yeah.
Not just here at the station, but just all around.
Yeah.
His all around contributions that he does in the community. And so many people owe a debt of gratitude to RJ Watkins.
Yeah.
For all that he's done.
I think this is a great moment to just stop and say thank you so much, RJ, for the opportunity that you give us all to be able to come and just do what we do here. And I'm new. I'm very new.
But you don't act like it. People that come in here, they think you're a seasoned veteran. They think you've been around here for years.
Well, I tell you to thank you, Darwin, just for having me on your show, which is how I got introduced, over here, and to be able to come on your show and talk about the different things like that. I'm gonna say the bug. I got the bug to check it out, and when you told me to check it out, I really did check it out. So I thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you, and I mean, and you hit the ground running when you started.
Running.
Because when I looked and saw the first edition of Chats and Chuckles, I was like, wow, it's like this is a star in the making.
Aw.
And so many people that I've seen come here and do the show and have nothing but praise when they leave from this show, saying
Aw.
to you, to RJ, to Miss, Maxine Willis, to Tim Smith. I mean, everybody they come in contact with, they're saying nothing but praise about Chats and Chuckles and Kimberly Clemens. It's like your name is not Kimberly A. Clemens anymore. It's Miss Chats and
Chats
Chuckles.
and Chuckles.
And then when I do my show on Fridays, I have to kind of put a little plug in, and folks like, "Is that the station that has Chats and Chuckles?" I'm like, "Yeah, it also has some other shows over there as well." But how can I get on Chats and Chuckles?
Oh, that's
So
good.
I'm like, okay, well, I'll connect you with Kimberly A. Clemens. So, and then you tickle me because when I talk to you, and I'm like, Kimberly, I got a person I think might be good for your show. Well, Darwin, I got to check my schedule because I'm booked up all the way until, when is this? Let's see. This is 2026. Let me check to see. Maybe I got an opening in 2027 to
You
get
know
somebody.
what?
Because everybody want to come on your show.
I would tell you, God is so good. God is really good. When I checked it out, to be able to sit down and talk with Maxine and to just share my vision, for the show, she was so excited that it really did. It fueled what you had fueled, for me. And in my mind, it's like I gotta have something that's worth looking at,
Mhm.
have something worth listening to. And I know what I like to listen to. So hopefully the audience, enjoys it. So to hear the feedback from you is grand. To hear it from Maxine, it's grand. To hear it from RJ, it's grand, for me, because I like to talk.
But see, Kimberly, you are a prime example of how, if somebody else is interested in getting a show over here at WHPR TV, you're the prime example of how it doesn't take a whole lot of work because you make it look so effortlessly when you get out here and you do your show.
Well, thank
And
you.
it's just like somebody writing a book. You've got to have an idea,
Yeah.
and then you want to put that idea on paper. Only difference with you, you had an idea and you wanted to go and put it in front of the airwaves.
Yeah.
And that's what anyone else can do because everybody is so creative. They have ideas that they want to write a book, they want to do
Yeah.
a radio show, they want to do a TV show, do a podcast. So many people have ideas, and we need to make certain, in the words of the late Jesse Jackson, knowledge should be shared
Yeah.
and not hoarded.
Absolutely.
We should make certain that everybody hears what we do. And just like Jesse said, you are somebody. I am somebody.
I am
And
somebody.
to keep hope alive.
That's
and that's
true.
one thing that
That's
you're doing.
true.
But see, the other thing you do too, Kimberly, is that you inspire, because this is International Women's Month, you inspire other women that may have thought that the ceiling was not attainable. And
Yeah.
what they're doing is that they're getting an opportunity to see you, see how much fun you have doing what you do.
Oh, I do
And
have
they're
fun.
like saying, hey, we see Kimberly A. Clemens doing her thing. Maybe gives me the impetus to want to get out and do my thing.
Absolutely. Shout out to the women because this is International Women's Month. And I just say it is a blessing to be a woman. I tell you, I am so grateful that God created me this way. And to represent women, it does mean a lot to me to represent in a way that you will be proud, and not only you, but other women, and and for myself, I want to represent myself well.
Well, and the thing is that women look at you, they look at Miss Willis, they look at other women that are connected to the station here, and they are very proud of, like you just said, being a woman, being someone that can go and encourage other women, because it was a time when women were not treated like they should have been treated.
Absolutely.
Didn't have the opportunity to be able to vote. That was one of the critical things right there.
Yeah.
With the suffragettes and trying to get them to get out and vote. Now you look at a lot of women that are in positions of power.
Yeah.
You know, here we look at the Supreme Court has a female justice with the Supreme Court. We had a young lady that ran for president and almost attained that being the president of the United States.
Yeah.
And we here in Detroit have a first African American female mayor here in the city of Detroit. And there's a lot of people that didn't think that that would happen in their lifetime, but it's attainable.
That's something, all of those things are very very notable, things that have happened for women. And when you talk about just doing different things, no one could have ever told me that I would be on live TV. I had an aspiration to do a podcast. So that's where Chats and Chuckles started. I'm a praying woman, and I thought, okay, God, if that's really what you want me to do, give me a name for it. And Chats and Chuckles came, and I laughed myself. And I
did too. When you first ran it by me, I laughed too.
I said, Chats and Chuckles, okay. So I wrote it down. And I envisioned what I wanted my logo to be. But I drug my feet on it. And I asked myself, during the time that I was healing from ovarian cancer, I really asked myself, okay, well, why haven't you done the podcast? Why haven't you? It's not hard to get equipment. I even went on a podcast, Vaquita Kennedy invited me out to her podcast, which I had a phenomenal time. And I didn't have an excuse. I could have used, the person that was running, that podcast, for her. And I just kept dragging my feet. And she even encouraged me, like holding me accountable to what I said I wanted to do. And I drug my feet even more. But finally, one day, I asked myself, well, what is it? Like, be honest with yourself. And I had no excuse. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't, it wasn't that I didn't have the money for the equipment, or I didn't have the money for, this. I said, okay, well, what is it? Then you invited me on, and you said to me, you know what? You should check this out. And I did. So I had no excuse. And to do it, it let me know, okay, God has greater plans, for me, things that I never could have dreamed of. And to inspire other people, to come out and do it. So y'all watching me, y'all listening to me, it is something you can do too. If you desire to do it, just check it out. Check it out. If you don't want to do a show, do a commercial. If you don't want to do a commercial, sponsor my show. There's so many opportunities here at WHPR that nobody should have an excuse of not doing something that they want to do, or even just to support what's happening here at WHPR.
Well, Kimberly, the thing is that the first step is usually the hardest step to take.
Yeah.
And once you pass that first step, the rest is a lot easier.
Yeah.
But it's just daring to take that first step. You took that first step. And then especially with you, coming back from your illness.
Yeah.
And looking in terms of, say, and the inspiration that you were giving to other women that may have gone through the same thing that you've gone through. And, just like last month being National Heart Month, people need to take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
But it's not just the women, but take care, men need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
But the thing is that something that I think it was Michael B. Jordan said at the Image Awards last month was that I love women. I came from a woman, and if it wasn't for a woman, I wouldn't be here. And that's what a lot
That
of people
sound
have
like
to
Tupac.
realize. Exactly, because I mean, we would not be here. I give a shout out to Hilda Griffin. That's my, my late mother, and and it's like it tickled me because she could say things to me and she could chastise me, but she could do it in such a way to where I didn't feel dejected. I felt like I was reprimanded, but I knew how to change and do better because that's what she wanted us to do. And just like you, with all of the people that when we first met, and it was so interesting because I tell this little quick story. How we became, friends. And when we met, Kimberly and I were in Boston for a
Yep.
conference, and
NAACP.
I'm in my room at the hotel, and I'm coming down. My roommate Marvin Franklin was down there in the cafeteria. And
Hey,
look up,
Marvin.
next thing I know, he's sitting there at the table with this young lady, and I'm like, "Who is she?" And I'm seeing the big smile, and your hair was different then, because you
I
had
had
to
I had dreadlocks down
right.
to my waist.
and I'm like, "Who is this lady?"
14 years of hair growth, and look where I am now, y'all.
But when I looked, and I'm like, but then the smile was so infectious. And when I saw you and the smile, I'm like, Marvin, who is she? And when he told me who you were, and I'm like, okay. And it was a last minute addition to have you come to the convention.
Yes, 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 yes. So the convention was in Boston, and I was asked a couple of days before if I would be available to go. And I said yes, because number one, I love to travel, and I believe in NAACP.
And the thing was that you and I and six others,
Yes.
we
Ruby
bonded.
D.
Right.
That's my Ruby
Ebony.
D. Ebony.
And also we can't leave out Pastor John Herm Jr.
That's the man with the
And-
plan.
And I do want to give John a little bit of a shout out because of the fact that he just recently lost his uncle Gary.
Oh, yeah. Our
And
condolences.
so our hearts and our prayers go out to
Absolutely.
John and to his family over the loss of his uncle. And I know he spoke about that yesterday when we had our meeting. But you, Kimberly, like I said, I did not know your story. I did not know about anything with that was going on with you health wise. All I knew was
Well,
that,
nothing was going on then.
and I didn't and wasn't expecting anything else other than just we were going to be dream teamers.
Yep, we were dream teamers. We went there. Our mission really was to gather the information from the convention, to participate in everything that was happening there. I went, membership chair was my role at the time, so I got to participate in that. And I recommend in everyone to participate in the NAACP. We're with Western Wayne NAACP because of where we live. We live downriver. So we connected with Western Wayne, and there's so much that you can be a part of with Western Wayne NAACP and the NAACP. I think that all of the things that I've participated in, whether it was a meeting, a convention, a state convention, just the things that are happening in the community, I think it's really, really important that we continue to connect people to a branch.
Well, let's double back a little bit on. I know, just like you were saying, when we met, you didn't have the challenges that you had
No,
later.
I didn't have any challenges.
Can you just talk about, because there's women out here that are probably going through something similar to what you're going through. Can you kind of chronicleize what did happen and what led you to, and then how your reaction was to everything that you encountered?
So I literally was living it up. I was traveling, everywhere. I was on the go. I'm a servant. So a lot of times, for me, looking back on that time, I'm a servant. So I've been serving with, my church, serving with the Detroit Police Department Chaplain Corps. serving in my community. I have a nonprofit, the Girls Factory. Shout out to the Girls Factory. You can check me out at www.iamthegirlsfactory.org. Just
It's so
serving
interesting giving a shout out on your own
on
show.
my own show about my own stuff, y'all.
Right.
No, but serving with Western Wayne, NAACP, just doing what I do, living life, being a wife, being a mom of adult children, grandkids, and
What advice would you give to a mother that is has grandchildren or has adult children? Because we see a lot of things going on with children, and you with the Girls Factory. What advice would you give to a young mother that might be struggling with that knucklehead son or that rambunctious daughter that wants to get out and about?
I would say be patient, and then also reach out for help. Never think that you have to do it alone. There's always someone out there that's willing to help. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed. Sometimes our children go through different things and we're not equipped, to help them, but we have to reach out. There are so many resources out there for whatever challenge that your child may have. You want to reach out, whether it's to the church, a local community, reach out maybe to family, to friends, but don't feel like that you're by yourself, because that child does need love, needs help, needs, arms of hugs and, encouragement, and know that you're not the only one with a child that has a challenge, whatever challenge or situation that they may be going through.
With your Girls Factory, do you look for certain things from your young ladies that you work with?
So I work with young ladies ages 7 to 12, and those young ladies come from urban communities. I work with the young ladies in housing communities. So I teach life skills. Cooking sessions is what we have. We do a lot of cooking, but there's a lot of conversation that goes on with that. Cooking session. We bring in prominent women from the community, whether you're a mom or a judge or, it just doesn't matter. They come in, they do cooking sessions with the young ladies, tell them how they overcame some challenges in their life and what they're doing today. I'm grateful that God gave me that ministry. As a young child, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I tried to do that, when I had a daughter, make sure that my daughter had someone to talk to. So to be able to have, an organization where a parent feels comfortable to leave their child with me, it really is a humbling, experience to be able to help that child get to learn, get to know that there's a different way to make different decisions, no matter what home may look like. I also do safety planning with children. If they're living in a home of domestic violence, they know how to stay safe. We talk about those hard topics that maybe parents, don't know how to navigate, or that they may have trouble talking with their child about.
And you bring up a good point. I hate to, but I just want you to put a pin on what you were just saying. But like when you talk about to be able to navigate, especially if they're in a household where there's domestic, situations between a mom and a dad. And what do you tell your young girls, or what do you tell the young people if they see that mom is steady, being abused, or dad is being abused, or whatever the case may be? What do you tell a young lady or even a young boy, what they should do?
So at this, that's a very good question, and we're going to tackle that question. I'm going to say, grab your coffee, grab your tea, and we will be right back.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Good morning. Today's a beautiful day, and today's not only a beautiful day because we're here in Inkster, but it's a beautiful day because I'm here with Pastor Gene Overman. I have the pleasure to serve on Operation Refuge as a board of director. This organization not only serves Inkster, but the neighborhood communities. I mean, the work we do here is beyond. It's led by Pastor Gene Overman. I've known Pastor Gene Overman for over 10 years. Everybody claims that that's her son, this is that. I mean, we go way back. She's mentored me. She's helped me throughout my career. I love you, Pastor. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on today?
Well, we're so excited, and thank you, Safe, for bringing a team in to really help us get the word out. Today we're doing our food that we do consistently every Wednesday and Thursday throughout the month, and just very excited to share with everyone listening that Operation Refuge has Mother's Pantry. It is a client choice food pantry that we are very thankful that you come in here and it's a place of dignity. You shop just like you're at Trader Joe's, hopefully, or one of the better grocery stores. So we're on the main strip because we want our families to leave those houses if you have a need and come over. And that's whether you're here, Dearborn Heights, Garden City, all of our surrounding communities in Southeast Michigan, Wayne County, actually, we really serve great food. And we have lots of programs. But today we're here talking about Mother's Pantry, and you get the chance to see some of the interactivity at Mother's Pantry with our families. And sometimes there's a great need, and sometimes you find yourself the working, underemployed. So we have lots of Alice families where you're right at that threshold where you cannot receive benefits, but you still need that support. So we're very thankful that through many partnerships with Operation Refuge, we are able to provide good, nutritious food.
What I love about our pantry is the fact that you can come in, park your car, and shop like you're walking into a grocery store. Nobody can tell you can't take this or you can't take that. That's a sense of pride where you're not hurting anybody's feelings, and then I can walk in, get what I want, and leave. I mean, that's an amazing.
And you leave with your dignity, and oftentimes when we have food insecurity, you feel some sort of way to start with, right?
Absolutely.
So when you come in, we want to have the best choices.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we really do have excellent choices. We have halal, we have kosher, and we have partners that ensure that we keep what all of our families need.
Yeah.
So we're just very thankful.
It's your leadership and your vision. That's why, right?
And the board of directors, right?
Absolutely.
I can't get it done without you all. And as you see from the young man, you leave with fresh pineapple.
I love it.
Food,
I love it.
Right? And whether you're walking or you're able to drive up, our door is open for you.
And then the line, I can see the line.
Yeah,
I mean, when I
actually
pulled up, was all the it was all the way down to the STEM building. So it's amazing. It's a sunny day. Come to Inkster, folks. Thank you, Pastor. I love you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm the new girl at WHPR, Kimberly Clemens, the host of Chats and Chuckles. Tune in on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Chats and Chuckles. I am here to bring life to the chatter that matters.
If you enjoy the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.
Justice for Mario Willis. Truth. Facts. Evidence. Matter. Log into justiceformariowillis.com. Read for yourself.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. If you're behind on your property taxes, we have programs to help. You don't have to lose your house, and you don't have to pay all at once. This summer, our mobile unit will be visiting Wayne County communities to help make it easier to start a payment plan and keep your property. Go online or call to find the plan that's right for you and where you can get help from our mobile unit. The last thing I want is for anyone to lose their property to foreclosure. Make your payments every month and keep your property.
313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back. Today is an extra special show because I am the extra special guest being interviewed here by my good friend Darwin of Truth to Power. He is not scared to speak truth to power.
And I'm looking at your logo, and a lot of people do ask that question when they see the smile and they see the logo. They ask, "Is that you? That is actually on that logo?"
Yeah, that's my smile, y'all. That's exactly how I am literally all day long. I find something to laugh at, something to have joy about every single day. I've gone through so much in my life that I just refuse to let anything get me down.
Well, every day that you wake up, that God gives you an opportunity to wake up, can always be a good day.
Every day is a good day. I don't want to get away from that question that you asked right before we went to break.
Well, I didn't want to take over the show and just start out and ask you that question.
Oh,
right
no,
there.
you good. That's how we roll, though, Darwin, because I remember. But because I think that's so important. Your question was, what do we tell our young people if they're living in a home of domestic violence? So if a young child shares that information with me, I first make sure that they know that they are not by themselves, that they don't have to feel alone, that they have to have the tools to stay safe because that is their home. I also want them to know that they don't have to repeat that cycle. They don't have to judge, their parents. We don't know why they're living in that situation, but then also give them resources that they can even share with their parent. There are so many organizations out there that have resources for the adults, but there is a lack of resources for those of the children. So if I get that opportunity, I make sure that I love on that child, make sure that they know that they're not by themselves, help boost their esteem, their confidence, help them to be courageous in speaking up about things that that don't sit well with them. Help them to have an understanding. There's counseling out there for children that are living in the home like that. And then hope and pray, that they will also make it out, of that situation.
And Kimberly, that's a real tough situation because of the fact that you have a father or a mother that may have to be detained by law enforcement. And it's tough to see a mom or a dad taken out of the house in handcuffs and led to a police car and not knowing what's going to happen to that mom or dad. And then sometimes with the children, if they go and report that, that I saw daddy hit mom, or I saw mom hit daddy, or whatever the case may be, and them feeling like they're all alone, like you just said, that they betrayed the family trust, and people are going to be looking at them thinking, well, you got daddy in trouble because you reported to, it could be Child Protective Services, even if the child is being abused. And that's another thing too. Can you also speak to, like, if a child is being abused? And now it seems like Child Protective Services gets a lot of calls from young people saying that they've been beaten or battered by a parent. And things are different now in the discipline of young people today, because back when I was growing up, I mean, spare the rod, spoil the child. That's the adage that a lot of people had. But now you can't whoop a child, or you can't, take, like when I was in school, we had, teachers would have the little paddles and would sometimes tap us, and even back then, you had Big Bertha on the corner that had a little switch that you ain't, you supposed to be in school right now, and and they would tap you, and then when you got home, she done called your mama or dad, told that somebody was playing hooky from school, then you got tapped again when you got home. Yeah. But what are some of the things that you tell, especially like your young people, about what they should do? And sometimes it may be you don't want to take too long to report something that's going on, like abuse that a child might be going through, or even seeing the abuse that a parent might be going through.
Yeah, that's a whole lot you said, Darwin. Like that, that's a lot. Like when you think about just real experiences where you have had a child that had to speak up. Like you praise a child for speaking up because that's what we teach the child. You speak up if you're being harmed in such a way where you're getting left bruises or you're not being fed or anything detrimental to that child, or that if that child thinks that it's harmful to them. You make sure that they're in a safe environment, and then you encourage that child that and let them know that they made a good decision. Now, some of the extreme cases, like you said, back in the day, it wasn't anything for our parents to grab a switch or grab the extension cord. Those things that were done back then, the times have changed. Those are not things that are welcome, with our society today. So, we just encourage our children, to speak up. We've seen the news stories where children have been left in filthy homes without food. They're fending for themselves. That's clearly child abuse. But teaching our children, things to look for, and how to speak up, how children should live. Those are things that we should focus on, as even our neighbors. Like if you see something that's not right, you may want to ask questions, or you may want to, try to befriend, the adult. Maybe the adult needs some help, like all the time. We don't want to jump to conclusions, but we also don't want to wait too long and something, horrible may be happening with that child.
Yeah, because you can look sometimes and see, a child going to school, and then somebody asks them about why are you so dejected? Why are you were a straight A student, and now all of a sudden here your grades have started to go down, and that child has to bear a lot of what's going on in the household, and then it's hard for them to really talk to somebody or feel like they can trust somebody.
Oh yeah, because the first people that we're supposed to trust are the people that's in our own home.
Exactly.
So when that trust is broken, to go out into the world and think that a child is just automatically going to trust their teacher or trust the neighbor, no, that's not realistic. So we have to try to create environments, whether it's in our neighborhood, in our church, in our schools. We have to be that person that will be a help, to a child or even an adult. Sometimes we don't know what a person is going through, even though they may be living in a home of domestic violence. You don't want to be judgmental where you're not, a help to the person. You're just as much as a problem as the person that they're living with. So you want to, have some resources, have some telephone numbers for them, or just be a listening ear or a house of refuge, a house of, a safe place for a person to be able to, get some help.
That's just interesting because you brought your sponsor into when you said a place of refuge.
Come on, that's Pastor Overman.
Pastor Overman. And
Operation Refuge.
Exactly. So we can't give enough of a shout out to Pastor Overman and Operation Refuge, for all that they do in the community with feeding a lot of people, especially this time of the, with a lot of food deserts that really are like, where do people get food? Price of food is going up. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine. She was telling me that she spent $20 on just getting a case of water, getting some little small cans of pop, and then a carton of milk. And I mean, and that's what I would be doing normally if I wasn't here with you doing your show. I'd be at a food pantry getting food and disseminating out to seniors.
Yeah, that's why I love Pastor Overman, because what she's been doing for many, many, many years is helping people. And she's not one of the people that helps, once or a couple times. She's committed her life to helping on a consistent basis. And that's what people need, is consistency. They need us to be able to point them in the right direction. If you can't give them what they need, at least give them the resources that are out there so that they can get the help that they need.
Yeah, because you have people that may be dependent for a minute. It's not like it's an alternative.
Yeah, but some may need help
until they can get their own independence.
Yeah, a little bit longer than the average person. But to me, a need is a need. Like if it's in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, it's still a need, and there should be places where they could get that need met.
And people have needs, people have wants. And I think the thing is that you want to give somebody an opportunity. It's like that whole thing about the adage with the fish. You can give them a fish they can eat for a day. You can teach them how to fish, and that's the thing that people need to learn more. So, how to fish, so that they can become fishermen. Fishers of men.
Yeah, I always find like even using that as an analogy, I immediately look at myself and I always ask, okay, what else can I do, to help? Because yes, I could feed someone today, which warms my heart. And yes, we cook more than what we should because someone else is in need, and we look for people in need. But that is great. But like you said, teaching them how to cook, how to be resourceful is even greater. So when I look at my organization, yes, come and have a meal, but then you're also going to learn how to cook. Yeah, how to cook. But then I'm going to send you over to someone to help you with your finances so that you can learn how to budget your money so that when you do go to buy some items to cook, how to not just buy food, but you can pay your bills. You can, have some fun in your life, so connecting with people in the community is really important to me too. I've met some of the most amazing people, and this show also is just my way of saying, okay, I know some great people that are doing some great things, and I want the audience to meet those people. And sometimes you may know them, you may know certain things about them, but you may learn something new. And the resources that most of the people that I know that they are willing to share the resources, share their way of getting, ahead in life. So that's why the show is important. Chats and Chuckles, for me, is to be able to share the resources so people can get the help that they need no matter what it is. If you want to be an actress, or if you need help, getting out of a bad relationship, or if you want to get into a relationship, there's people in all walks of life that I want to bring to the show so that the audience can learn from.
So you've heard that pitch that Kimberly Clemens just gave. So if there's somebody that wants to get their story out, that has a situation that they want to go and get it across the airwaves, contact Kimberly A. Clemens, Chats and Chuckles, and Kimberly will make certain that your voice can be heard.
Absolutely. I believe in people using their voice for good. So I am Kimberly Clemens. You can contact me at 734-286-5979, or you can reach me by email, kimberly@chatsandchuckles.com.
And people, have to realize too, it takes a village to do this production. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into this production. We've got great engineers here with Tim Smith, Lorenzo Cox, Henry Tyler, and then our floor manager, Maxine Willis, and then our overall guru that pretty much like keeps a lot of us here and encourages us and motivates us to do what we do in R.J. Watkins. So, we just have to, and we look and we ask people, if you do have a story, you do have a message that you want to give, please contact us.
Yeah.
And let us know that you can get your story across. But one thing that you were saying too, and I really like what you said earlier about the fact that not only do you teach somebody how to cook their own meals, but you teach them how to cook sensible meals.
Yeah.
Because everybody can put a lot into our temples, but is it the right food that they're putting in? And I'm sure that's one of the things that you do with your girls when you do your cooking classes, is teach them about how to eat right.
Yep, we do healthy cooking. We do fun cooking. I partner with the seniors also who teach the young ladies how to cook from scratch.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really fun because it brings joy to the seniors, heart. And then the girls, some of them have lost their grandmas, and they build that relationship with the seniors. I do want to say that a lot of our young girls, their moms work. They work a whole lot, and they take really good care of their family. And our goal is to be the bridge, with that mom, to be a help. So sometimes if mom is tired, oh, that young lady is going to know more than cooking noodles, like that's a great thing to learn to cook, but you're going to learn how to cook something healthier for you, and not just for you, but you'll be cooking for the family. You'll be cooking to help mom out. Doing some things that would be beneficial. And then some of our girls, eventually, sometimes they have a desire to sell their food that they learn to make. Oh, yeah. We have all kind of people that come in to teach them different things, and they learn how to monetize, the food that they make, and have dreams of going to Eastern Market to sell their food, or going to the
entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Mommypreneurs.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the thing too. But it's like here, because this is International Women's Month, let me ask you this question. What woman inspired you when Kimberly A. Clemens was growing up?
Growing up, I admired my mom. Now, my mom suffered with mental illness, but I admired her strength. My mom had 10 children, and my mom used to work at Michigan Bell. My mom was...
That's when they called it Michigan Bell.
When they called it Michigan Bell. My mom dressed to the T. Like she was just this powerhouse to me, And though she was sick, like from the age of 12, for me, I always just admired that she maintained, our home. She really maintained 10 children. And but growing up, like I had teachers that I admired, just how they carried themselves. So when I became an adult, I knew how I wanted to dress. I knew I wanted to wear high heels to work. I knew I wanted to work either downtown or at a big office building, and everything I wanted, I did. I knew I wanted to travel. I did. I knew anything that I said that I wanted to do, I did it. And now when I look back on the people that I admired, like in TV, was like Doris Biscoe.
The news anchor.
I did, and I used to practice with the yellow pages on how to speak, because I used to stutter a lot. And people would always make fun of the way that I spoke, not because I stuttered, but because I would pronounce my words, to the T. But I practiced that because I didn't like that I stuttered. So when people thought, oh, you're being something that you're not, nah, buddy, I'm sitting up here trying not to stutter, and be like I used to be. So I practiced a lot of that. And I still find myself sometimes stuttering just a little bit, but I know how to revert back to slow down, pronounce your words, and, move on. So some of those things I look back on and laugh, especially doing this live TV show. I'm like, I would have never seen myself doing anything like this, but I'm so grateful, for the opportunity.
So when you look at your mother, and you said like your mother had 10 children, looking at you, and where were you at in the pecking order? Like, were you the oldest?
I don't even think it was a pecking order. Shoot, I was second oldest. My brother is the first born. He's the junior, and then it was me. So I was the oldest girl, and I had to kind of step in when my mom got sick. I had to kind of step up, and step in. And back then, I was born in the 70s. So back then, that was just what we did. You cooked, you cleaned, you helped out, around the house. But I know that when I became older, I did not want children at all, because I Come on, that was 10 kids in the house that you had to help take care of. So I didn't want children. But when I met my husband, we had our daughter and then my son. And then I said, that's it. Like two was definitely, enough. But then I found myself always having, children around, loving children. God called me to minister to children, in youth ministry at church. That's where my comfort is serving in the youth ministry. Helping the kids in the community. Always finding something to do to help children. That's really where my heart is.
And then now the other thing too is that if you had to give a word that your mother would use to describe you, the second oldest in the family, what would that word be that your mother would use to describe her second oldest?
Perfect. She loved her daughter. My mom loved me. She's a perfect little girl. Shoot, all my siblings, they got in trouble all the time. That's the only time I got in trouble is when they did something. So she would say, perfect, Darwin.
So now, when you look in terms of say at the way that you talk to young ladies today, you're always trying to encourage them to be perfect like you?
I tried my best just to encourage the young ladies to be courageous.
Okay.
Be courageous. Speak up about things that are happening to you, or speak out about things that are not right. Be an advocate. If you see somebody that's bullying somebody, stand up. For them. Go tell an adult. I look at myself. Being a person that really would like young girls not to experience anything negative. So if it's something that they do have that I can help with, I want to be there.
So again, reiterate again too, especially for our, because it's Women's Month, reiterate again about if a young lady may be suffering through some kind of domestic situation or a sexual harassment type situation or abuse situation or even trafficking, when we talk about a lot of young girls that may be going through things, what should they do? What are some of the resources that you recommend to them?
I will say, once again, part of my life too is I speak to women every Monday that are getting their lives on track. I go to encourage them to, number one, their heart has to be whole. They have to look at the things that have happened to them, and they only can be accountable for their own actions. So one thing my brother who passed away, he taught me, and I use it to this day, that when somebody else has a problem, don't make their problem your problem. And that has stuck with me because sometimes when people do things to you, you internalize it and you start making bad decisions, or you just can't get out of your own head, or your heart is so broken because of what somebody else did. Separate what someone else does. Love yourself. Hold yourself accountable for your own decisions that you make, but love yourself. Lift yourself higher. Treat yourself better. And don't make what they did now your problem, and now you're doing it to yourself. So encouraging the young girls to, they may grow up in a home and see things that are not right, but they don't have to internalize that or blame themselves or think that something's wrong with them, or they're the only family that's going through that. I want the young girls, even young boys, because our young ladies have brothers. I want them to just have a heart of love, regardless of what situation that they may be in. They don't have to be that. They can be better than that.
Yeah, and that's really kind of tough, especially to really give them the opportunity to be themselves and to make certain that people really look at the resources that you were telling them that they should go through. And I know, we got to wrap up. So, just one last thing when we talk about this being International Women's Month, what other things would you tell to a woman right now that's looking at you on this set and saying, I love Kimberly A. Clemens. I really enjoy watching her on Chats and Chuckles. What would you say to that woman that's really
Oh,
looking for
you
that?
know what, Darwin, that is funny, but I would say thank you. I would hope that what I'm doing is really positive, and I hope that I could encourage you to find something that you love to do. Find someone that would help you to get where you need to be. I would also say that if you really do love Kimberly A. Clemens and Chats and Chuckles, be a sponsor of the show. You know, you can reach out to me, 734-286-5979, or reach out here to the station, WHPR TV here in Highland Park. I absolutely appreciate this opportunity that I have to be on the air, and anything that I talk about will be worth talking about, and there will be resources, people that you can connect to. My sponsor today was Operation Refuge. I'm so grateful for Pastor Overman and her team. I'm so grateful for you, Darwin. Thank you for bringing out the best in me today. I appreciate all of you for showing up. Please show up again next Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at Chats and Chuckles. I really appreciate you all. Y'all have a great week. Ooh,